The Not-So-Innocents Abroad. Written by Roland Yeomans. Narrated by Robert Rossman. The journey you begin is never the one you finish. Dedication. To Camelot, to Xanadu, to the hope that all our dream worlds will come true, knowing that fairylands hold their dangers too. As you read, I will be on the roads to them. Read, and bring them home to you. Chapter 1. Wise to be late for death. Jonesboro, Georgia, September 1st, 1864. Rare is the courage that can follow compassion into the dark places where it leads. Samuel McCord. The echoes of the last gunshot still hung in the black powder-shrouded air. I had seen battlefields before, but none like this one. Americans had slaughtered Americans. Some of the dead probably were related to their killers. I felt Mallory's eyes on me. Mallory, she was my wife of 10 years, and empress of a people whose birth had been upon the alien shores of another layer of reality. It is not only the powers of Mallory, but her strangeness that frightens those who first meet her. Her face is almost human, and it is the almost that unnerves most people despite its unworldly beauty. And how could she not seem strange to most people and they to her? For she and her people are the last remaining members of a race that flourished over 4 continents as far back in geologic time as the Upper Jurassic period, and before that, in a dimension whose air it is death to breathe. Could it be that people do not love to be reminded that man is a very young race, and naive in a world that was old when man first blinked his way out of his caves? Could there be a strong resistance to the certainty that a living world will continue its stately way when they no longer exist in it? Why shouldn't Mallory look upon humanity as strangers, as barbarians, as intruders? She had been here first. She ruled the Aztecs when a political execution took place on Golgotha. Far-off Cathay knew her as Empress when Caesar destroyed the Roman Republic in the process of saving it. Even among her own people, how alone she must feel. 3 of her alien race were studying me along with Mallory. Hayato, her counselor, and her twin bodyguards. I named Ice and Easy, since I mangled the sound of their true names. Though of different sexes, they were twins, and unnervingly hard to tell one from the other, what with their hoods. Black robes caressed their bodies, making them look like Bedouin ninjas, but more deadly. Mallory was stylishly garbed in an expensive Charles Worth Victorian dress, whose scarlet satin clashed with the blood-smeared grass. The bleak, pale sun struck fire from now silent guns. Bloody corpses sprawled awkwardly, still twitching from muscles reluctant to admit the black fact of their death. Winter's light glinted in sheens of silver from rifle barrels and broken blades, where the dead lay as they had fallen. The nerveless hand yet gripped the broken hilt. The bare heads were drawn back in grotesque death throes, tilted near beards of boys and matted beards of men grown old before their time bent grimly upward, as if in last invocation to Wotan and his merciless Valkyries, who left them as unworthy of reward in Valhalla. Using the sciences of her race, Mallory had deposited us right at the edge of the battlefield. I could gather the garment of space and fold it too, but only for myself. I was only human. Well, once human. Now, my blood had mingled with strange fires, and I was no longer what once I had been. I still felt alien eyes upon me. The boy at my feet groaned. I bent down to see what help I could give the dying youth. "Lizzie," he wheezed, bubbles of blood on his lips. "Oh, Liz." The boy died mourning his never-to-be-seen again love. I ground my teeth at seeing yet another death I could do nothing about. Thunder rumbled ominously overhead. Hayato looked nervous. Damn straight he should be nervous. I was blood brother to Ilu, whose mother was the turquoise woman, she whom the ancient Greeks called Gaia. That made her my mother as well. At first ours had been a stormy relationship, but I grew on her. Like fungus, she often laughs. And sometimes she reflected my mood. Right then my mood was straight out of the pit of hell. I locked eyes with Mallory's slanted jade ones. "Why did you bring me here?" The thunder grew louder with each word, the lightning growing larger and more numerous, as if the hell burning inside me wanted to burst out. Although her twin bodyguards looked frightened to their toes, Mallory stood supple and serene, and silent. Hayato cleared his throat. I glared up at Hayato. Ningyo for falcon person. He certainly looked it. Hayato's face was long, with thick black hair that he combed straight back, and a large nose that came straight down from the bridge with no curvature at all. He was as tall as me, and was all angles and scorn. Hayato was one of those men who paid so much attention to how tough he was, that he didn't pay much attention to anything else. Hayato was Mallory's state counselor. Luckily, Mallory paid attention to everything. It suited her to have a deadly, oblivious advisor. All she had to do was the exact opposite of what he suggested, and her safety and success was assured. He hated humans, me in particular. To him, Mallory's marriage to me was next to slumming, and his disapproval amused Mallory. Fortunately for him. Hayato was looking at me, a hard look, so I'd know how dangerous he was. He was wasting his time. I already knew how dangerous he was. Mallory might take him lightly. I did not. The world over was dotted with unmarked graves of those who had gotten in his way. His voice was dry and faintly hoarse, like wind whispering over sandpaper. His diction was precise. "All know how you detest slavery." "Yes," I murmured. "So?" He smirked. "So why are you safely staying out of this war to end it?" Ice and easy jerked as lightning exploded above us as I slowly rose. "That's the stated reason. As real reasons for this war go, that one is mighty far down the list, and Abigail Adams wants this war for her own twisted ones." Abigail Adams, ruler of America's revenants. She sat on the throne of a shadow American confederacy of revenant states. Revenants. They were two-legged leeches who lived off the blood of the living. Abigail had been turned in France when she accompanied her husband and Jefferson there. Long ago, I promised her dying husband to save her from herself. So far, I had done a lousy job of keeping my word. I wearily rubbed my face with gloved fingers. I will not be her pawn, or the puppet of the northern power brokers who are becoming rich off this war. Mallory kept on silently studying me. Her concentration was a physical force. I always expected things to smolder when she studied them. Life was a fascination for her. Humans were rarely that. I set my face hard. I reckon a man's good for only one oath a lifetime. I gave mine to the Republic of Texas. Hayato snorted. There is no longer a Republic of Texas. As long as I am alive, there is, and I swore to it to protect the women and children of Texas, not to take part in political wars. I shrugged. I've sort of accepted the conceit that any place a ranger stands becomes a piece of Texas, so I protect what women and children I find in jeopardy along my trail. Hayato's deep eyes clashed with mine as he reached into his black robes and withdrew 2 telegrams, extending them to me. Really? I took them warily and read. One was from General Sherman to General Grant. Allatoona, 7:30 p.m., October 9th, 1864. Lieutenant General Grant, City Point. It will be a physical impossibility to protect this road now that Hood, Forrest, Wheeler, and the whole batch of devils are turned loose without home or habitation. I think Hood's movements indicate a direction to the end of Selma and Talladega Road to Blue Mountain, about 60 miles southwest of Rome, from which he will threaten Kingston, Bridgeport, and Decatur. I propose we break up the road from Chattanooga and strike out with wagons for Milledgeville, Millen, and Savannah. Until we can repopulate Georgia, it is useless to occupy it. But the utter destruction of its roads, houses, and people will cripple their military resources. By attempting to hold the roads, we will lose 1,000 men monthly and will gain no result. I can make the march and make all of Georgia howl. We have over 8,000 cattle and 3 million pounds of bread, but no corn. But we can forage in the interior of the state from the civilians. W.T. Sherman, Major General. Grant's reply was short. Proceed with your plan. I crushed the telegrams in my gloved fist. The sudden maelstrom of thunder above us deafened my ears. The fiery lightning bolts from the suddenly black skies slammed into nearby trees, shivering the grass beneath my boots. Utter destruction of Georgia's homes and people, I husked. All those defenseless children and women. Finally, Mallory spoke. Samuel, my people needed to know why you did not join this tragic war. That is all. They do not need you to hopelessly hurl yourself into a lone charge against 67,000 Union soldiers. From the pool of blood beside the body of Lizzie's dead lover came Elu's oddly distant voice. Deami will not be alone. Deami, Apache for eagle. Most times I felt a vulture. Elu's dried apricot face rippled in the gleaming surface of the drying blood. When he became blood brother with me in 1815, my blood cursed him as his cursed me. It was hard to tell which of us got the worst end of that twin curse. Elu was doomed to live in some strange limbo, where he could only look out at the world of his birth through mirrors and other reflective surfaces. I never saw my face in mirrors, only his. But sometimes Elu could reach out of mirrors to feed off the life force of others, as could I. Now you understand why I always wear gloves, though I only need to shield innocence from my right hand. From the pool of blood, Elu growled, So the great white father is not content to kill my people's children. Now he must kill his own. A tremendous cry like a million attacking eagles sounded overhead. My stomach coiled. I looked up. The Wakion, as the Lakota called the Thunderbird. I could never decide whether it was a creation of the turquoise woman or an extension of her. Either way, the Thunderbird only appeared when she was pissed. Ever seen a tornado headed your way or been on the ground during an earthquake, then you know how sheer terrifying it was to have Mother Nature royally pissed at you. From horizon to horizon were its slowly flapping wings as thunders rumbled ominously with each sweep. Made of storm clouds and lightnings, and looking like a misty dragon from Ragnarok, the Wakion spoke in the words of a dozen tornadoes.
In the white society of illusion, it is time for reality to manifest itself.
With that, the Wakion turned majestically about, heading in the direction of Atlanta. I shivered. There were two ways to die terribly. One was for nature to ignore you. The other was for nature to notice you. 2 guesses on which one was worse. I rasped, "This is bad."